In this video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting complex numbers. So first off, we need to understand what a complex number is. And a complex number is a expression that includes a real number part and an imaginary number part. And notice in front of the imaginary number is a coefficient, which is in this case is b. So the rules for adding and subtracting complex numbers are the same as adding and subtracting numbers with variables by combining like terms. Now, today in class, when you were doing your practice or your quiz review, the one thing that I noticed when I was walking around is that some of you guys weren't recognizing that I'm adding these two expressions together. I'm adding these two quantities in parentheses together, and that's determined by the plus sign in between the two. So in this case, I'm just combining like terms. And so I have 9i plus 4 plus 3i minus 8. Then I have some like terms. I have 9i and I have 3i, and that's 12i. And what I'm left with is two real numbers, and so I just combine those two, and it's 4 minus 8, and so that's negative 4. So not so difficult. Then it gets a little bit more difficult because we're going to practice subtracting real and imaginary numbers, or complex numbers with real and imaginary parts. So I have the quantity 3 plus i, and I'm going to subtract 1 minus 2i. Now, when I'm subtracting these, I really have to distribute a negative 1 to both of the terms inside of the parentheses. So in this case, I have 3 plus i, and then I distribute the negative 1, so I take the opposite of 1, which is negative 1, and the opposite of negative 2, which is positive 2i. So at this point, I've got it to where I can just combine like terms. And I have 3 and negative 1 combined together, which is 2. And then I have I and 2i, and so that combined is 3i. So this would be my final answer. These are not like terms, so I can't combine them any further. So moving on along and doing some more practice problems, let's look at another one. I have 3 plus 5i minus 6 minus 6i. So again, I'm subtracting, and I'm really distributing the negative 1 to both of the terms inside. So in this case, I have 3 plus 5i, and the opposite of 6 is negative 6, and the opposite of negative 6i is positive 6i. Then I combine like terms, so it's negative 3, and then I have 5i plus 6i, so that's plus 11i. Another problem is 9 plus 7i plus 11 minus 3i. Now, here I'm adding these two quantities, so I can just rewrite it as 9 plus 7i plus 11 minus 3i. Then I combine like terms, and 9 plus 11 is 20, and then I have 7i and negative 3i. Combining those two together, it's positive 4i. So that's a few examples of how you add and subtract using like our complex numbers. And basically it is the same as when you're adding, subtracting numbers with variables in them.